Hello, hello. Welcome to Leap Taken. I'm Mika. Here at Leap Taken, I talk all things witchy, craft related, law of attraction, manifesting, esoteric, and everything else in between. And welcome to my witchy review. I'm doing a book review and bought a book in the other room because this is me. I swear I just be doing stuff. I'm glad nobody's here, but if you catch this on the replay, my bad. My bad. I'm doing the best I can. I am doing the best I can. But hello, welcome to Leap Taken. Again, I'm Mika, and we're gonna get into this video. So we're gonna talk about quite a couple different things. Um, the first thing I want to talk about this book, The Hearth Witch's Path: Everyday Rituals and Spells for the Home. Um, I Oh, hey, Insky. I was like, what's going on here? I'm trying to get my lighting right. We got a couple things we're doing. It's fine. Let me get some more light. There we go. Anywho, we're going to talk about this. Create your own Hearth Witch path. So this is the book. The author is Anna Franklin. Anna Franklin is, you should know who the author is. So this is important. Anna Franklin is a third-degree witch and high priestess of the Hearth of Arianrod. Yeah, I guess it's Arianrod. Who has been practicing paganism for more than 40 years. She has authored dozens of books, contributed hundreds of articles to pagan magazines, and appeared on radio and TV. She lives and works in a village in the English Midlands. So, you need to know that because this is written from an English woman's perspective mostly. There's a lot of references to Norse, Celtic, British, European centric deities. I mean, it's not just about deities, but when she references, I notice there's a lot of that. There's very little Egyptian or anything else. Now, for some people, this is not a big deal. Honestly, I knew what I was getting into, so it wasn't a big deal to me. It just is. That's what her wheelhouse is, so that's what she talked about. Um, I don't throw the baby out with the bathwater though, because the bulk of the information did resonate with me. Um, and I do like she talks about some Greek deities and things like that, like Hestia and Roman, a lot of Roman stuff as well. Not a lot, but a good amount of references. It's okay. It's okay. Everything's not for everybody. You won't connect with everything. And I'm saying all this because everything's not for everybody. It's okay if the person who, she wrote this book, that was her connection. That's what she connected to. That's what she knows. So that's what she wrote about. I do think sometimes people are looking, I wouldn't say this book's not inclusive because why would she be speaking about something she doesn't know? Hi, Gemstones. And I took it that way. So if you're kind of off by stuff like that, I'm bringing that up for a reason because I don't want, to talk about, I'm going to go into detail about this book because I have a lot to say. Um, but I don't want that to be a deterrent if you are somebody who doesn't follow those paths and you don't, connect to any of that. I don't want you to be like, why did she tell me that? It's okay. You don't have to connect with every single thing, but the bulk of the information in this book was actually really informative, and I learned quite a few things myself. So let me tell you, it says here, create your own Hearth Witch path, home-based spells and rituals to enhance your spiritual practice. Anna Franklin guides your unique journey into the Hearth Witch's world and helps you form a spiritual relationship with your home. She provides a complete course on Hearth Witchery that walks you step by step along this path. With the garden as a sacred space and the kitchen as a magical workshop, you will develop your cunning and formulate your own spells for courage, luck, and much more. The Hearth Witch's Path presents in-depth domestic lore alongside the modern practice of this tradition. Tips for achieving balance and living in harmony with nature are featured throughout, making this book an essential part of living a richer life with deep connections to the sacred. So I actually had this on my wish list for my birthday, and the people I shared it with, they bought me the gift, and I'm very grateful because I really enjoyed reading this book, and I knew I wanted to talk about it. Of course, I was going to talk about it. So the way the book is, when you first get into it, there's five parts to this book. Part one, Hearth and Home. I don't know why I'm playing. Part two, herb cunning. Part three, working with the gods. That was the section I was talking about. Part four, natural cycles. Five, operative witchcraft. Operative witchcraft was an interesting chapter. Hi, Dolores. Happy Friday, witches. Happy Friday. Happy Venus Day. I had this book on my list, didn't realize it was already released. I know it's a fairly new release. I did share the link if it's on Amazon. If you guys are interested, I'm an affiliate with Amazon, so if you use my link, it's pennies, but I'd greatly appreciate it. Just so you know. Okay, so let's get into this book. So I have highlighted some things that stood out that we're gonna talk about. I realize I haven't been talking because I went to go talk for the first time just now. I haven't really talked today. Oh my gosh, I'm needing to clear my throat. I've had warm tea, I've had a smoothie, I'm drinking water. I don't know. All right, let's try this again. The hearth was once the holy heart of the home. But what is its modern equivalent? So again, the hearth was once the holy heart of the home, but what is its modern equivalent? The TV, the computer, I would say even the phone. And what effect does that have on our lives and our connection to the spiritual landscape? This is when you first open it up. This is like part one, getting into it. And she asked that question. And honestly, I thought that was a relevant conversation to really ask. So let's get into this. The holy heart of the home. For a lot of people, when I was coming up, I'm very much Gen X. When I was coming up, it would be the TV. The TV was the place you sat around, right? A lot of us, we sat around. Oh, there's a gnat in here gonna make me crazy. Anyway, so we sat around the TV in the evenings, like, we ate a lot of times in front of the TV. Where once upon a time, people had, depending on where you were, maybe, and I'm talking way back, you would have maybe sat around a fire. Humans might have sat around a fire and consumed, for warmth or just, for light. But, those days, it's been a very long time, and that's okay. Another thing I want to point out, it's okay to modernize things. As a lot of witches, myself included, coming into, being a witch and understanding witchcraft, I was kind of obsessed with the ancients and doing it the olden ways, like in the olden times, and having tea stained paper, and I still like all this stuff. Don't get me wrong. I still like a good antique, a good vintage vibe. I still like that. However, it is not the only expression of witchery, of witchcraft. It's not the only expression, and also it's to try to create that now. It's never gonna give authentic because it's not authentic. It was authentic then, and now it's not. I know there are some witches who have an issue with using like manufactured products, like your tools. They don't like, uh, some of us will go to Five Below or the Dollar Tree and we'll buy items and things like that. Some witches don't like that. They exist. They don't like commercialized looking things. They want like thrifted and all that sort of stuff. They don't want mass produced things and all that. To each their own. To each their own. I think there's room for us all. Everything's not for everybody. I understand the logic And I probably relate to that or somewhat, but looking at this shelf behind me, clearly that's not my issue. Clearly I'm on some other type of energy. In the moment those things feel right and I buy them. But back to the question, the holy heart of the home, for me, it's the kitchen for sure. I notice we gather in the kitchen more now. We always did, but in like the it depends on the time of day. I'm gonna just say that. But like I notice like when everybody comes home, well now it's not everybody, but once upon a time I had more people in my home. When every like at the end of the day, midday, people are congregating in the kitchen. If you have a friend over, you want something to eat, like they want something to drink, conversations are being had in the kitchen. Yeah, I always had like a breakfast bar or like most of the times where I lived, I've always had like some kind of like island or bar or something like that. And that was always like, somebody's leaning on the counter or on a stool or something like that. And either at the time I was married, somebody's like, either they were cooking or doing something or I was like, it was always a thing. We were in the kitchen. So I want to say that's kind of like the place where it was the heart of the home. And now I intentionally make it the heart of the home, but now it's just, the Gilmore Girl situation over here with me and my adult daughter. And we hang out in various parts of the house. Well, she'll follow me, honestly. If I go to my room, she'll keep talking and following me and no matter where I go in this house. But in the kitchen, usually that's where I'm at. Um, yeah, we're having like deep conversations there. That's a place where you get your food, you're restored, you feel renewed. When I wake up in the morning, the first, well, outside of that other room, water room, I go to the kitchen. That's the first place I go. Watching TV as a family was something we got excited about, right? And anticipated why I can't see that far. Why am I playing myself? Where are my glasses? Um, I am convinced. I'm just without a diagnosis, but I can't stay on point. I'm gonna tell you all that right now. I can't stay on. But let me read what you're saying. We got excited about and anticipated the next episode together. Now everybody goes in their own rooms to watch their shows. I guess we can't stay in the past forever. I know. I think about that too. You're right. People do. I've I've been seeing that. Um, I I'm friends with people with little kids, and I do notice that like it's not sometimes, but they'll do movie night and stuff like that, and kind of bring the kids in, and everybody is all in one space. It gets tough when you have kids at different age groups, but you know what I did have a TV in my room coming up. Not right away. Not when I was a little kid. When I was a teenager, I got a TV in my room. And that's something to think about. I didn't have a TV in my room as a kid. Now most kids have a TV in their room, like little kids. I did not. That wasn't something. I mean, my mom be like, "What do you need a TV?" First of all, I was a scaredy cat, so I usually try to sleep with her at night anyway. I didn't need a TV. I missed that when my kids got older. Yeah. Excuse me. We used to do that. Oh, I'm having some sort of allergic reaction. What is in here? Mm. I'm going through it. I took a deep breath and coughed. Um, yeah. Dang, I missed that. I don't want to do this. Let's bring it back because I'm about to get sad. Look. I think it was literally last weekend. My daughter. We were in the kitchen, and I'm like over by the stove, and she went to go get something to drink or something like that. And she's kind of just like leaning up against the fridge or whatever. And she's like, I don't even know. She was talking about something relatively serious, by the way. She's an adult woman. She's a grown up. And I'm like, I just stopped, interrupted her, and I was like, you really grew up. I was just like, wow, she grew up. She grew up. I have a grown man for a son. I thought about a boy, and then I had to come to terms with Mika, that's not that you raised a grown man now. That was the final form, a man. And he's like tall with a deep voice and man thoughts and We don't have the same interests anymore. He used to really like mommy. They used to like me. They all like me, but they like me back in the day. They liked what I liked. Now they like what they like. My daughter's good. She'll chill with me sometimes. We'll still do our ritual of like dinner time. We'll sit and we'll watch like super. I'm watching Supernatural. I'm slow walking it because I don't want it to end. And I'm watching Lucifer. So she'll like kick back. She might be like on her phone, but she's in the vicinity, so she's not like paying attention. But before, she used to pay attention because she had no choice. Oh my gosh, my son will give me grandkids. I'm gonna get a do over. It's gonna come back. That's what I'm looking at. But for me, the sacred space in my home is gonna be my kitchen. Is where I was going with this. Followed closely by this room. This is my personal practice. A lot happens in this room. Okay. So it just made me think when I read that. Where is that? Where is my holy heart? Where's the heart of my home? I had to think about that when I first read The House Witch back in 2019. I remember because it was a drive from Florida, South Florida, so all the way down. We drove from South Florida to Arizona. It took some days, but I listened to that audio book of The House Witch, and that did something in my brain. Reading that, and I knew that was my path. That book, I don't even know if I talked about that. Like that really put me on a path to cottage witchery, but I had already been intrigued from reading other things and understanding my practice a little bit more. But like that was the modern version, and that got me. And I was like, oh yeah, that's me. So one great thing I like about this book, she gives a lot of information. She also gives like spells, like just intertwined. I like a book like that. Like it's, she's giving a lot of information. She's telling you what to say, what to do afterwards. Um, I dig that a lot. So chapter 2 is house spirits. Now, if you've watched for some time, I have referenced house spirits a lot here, but I thought she did a thorough job of talking about it. Mind you, this is where it matters where the author is located, what her background is, because it. I'm gonna read it, and you'll know in about 2 seconds what I'm talking about. I'll just jump in. Such legends persisted in different forms into recent times. The Brownie, known in Scotland in the north of England, was a solitary house fairy who became attached to particular houses or families who did odd jobs about the house and farm, cleaning, tidying up, or helping with the brewing. And then she goes on and she's going to talk about basically things that are, where's this other place that she's referencing? In the Shetland Isles. Hi. Cardea. Let me see, the duties by Cardea, the goddess of door handles and hinges. Did you know there was a goddess of door handles and hinges? I learned that was brand new information. But a lot of this, again, is based in a lot of European influence in the book. I don't mind it because I know that's where the author is. So, like, it is what it is, right? But I understand for me, living here, when I think house spirits, because I'm in a desert, I don't think the same, I guess, entities. We're not talking about the same fae. How about does that make sense? Yeah. Yeah. Household gods shrine. I like that. A kitchen spirit altar. I have one. Mine is working with Hestia. Yeah. I have a little altar set up for her. I love that. Matter of fact, I need to go light that candle. I was reading this and I was like, when's the last time and it's a battery operated candle, by the way, because I don't like an open flame candle under my kitchen cabinets. I have a fear that even though there's no way the heat is that close where it's gonna like burn underneath the cabinet, but I feel like over time it's gonna like blacken it with smoke. I don't know. I'm terrified about that, and it's gonna start a fire. So I never put a candle directly like under on a counter, kitchen counter under the cabinets. It freaks me out a little bit. Maybe a tea light. I can handle a tea light, but nothing more. And it can't be up high. And I have it on a little pedestal, so I do have a candle. I use a pink candle in there for that purpose. There's a ritual to invite the household spirit into a spirit house. So let's talk about spirit houses. This was something I was sort of enchanted with, and I've already actually done. I do this. So instead of a house, all right, let me just tell you. Instead of a house spirit altar, you might like to have a spirit house. These are small pottery or wooden houses that are ceremonially offered to the household spirit as a dwelling place. It's interesting to think about house spirits in suburbia or the inner city. That's kind of where I live. What would expect there? Exactly. Well, I'm going by the land that I'm on. I would more focus on the land, forget the modern landscape. So like and then that's when it matters, like what culturally, like what were the people who cultivated that land? What was that about? I mean, you can obviously take on the influences of what's currently happening. If you wanted to take a more modern approach on what's happening right now, honestly, I would think of like trickster fae, like the tricky ones, kind of zooming in and out and around. I would think like that type energy, because when I think of the city, things move really fast. I would think like that, and very tricky. I could see, they would have access to a plethora of shiny things because there's just so much going on. It would be hard to kind of keep their attention and work with them. So you'd have to be a little bit more with your offerings and things like that. You probably have to be a little bit more extravagant to hold them because there's just access to so much. Yeah, it used to be farmland. Yeah, you could try to appeal to that, because they have long memories. They know. I live in an apartment in the city, but I've still been wanting to set up a tiny house for house spirits to hang out in. I did. It was some years ago. Of course, I'm thinking about it now, so I don't even know what the video was, and it's still on my porch. I painted basically, I found a cutout, a wooden cutout. I think it was like Michael's, probably maybe Hobby Lobby at the time I was shopping there. And I just painted it the same color as my house. And it's right there by my house next to my gnome. So yeah, yeah, spirit house. So I've done that. And it's almost to me like a portal as well, but it's a place that they could comfortably live. And it's for this house. That spirit house is for the spirits of this house. If I were to go somewhere else, I would most likely retire it. And they say you can use it. They give you a way to is a ritual or spell or something in here, I think, if you were to move to a new house, what to do. Yeah, listen. So there's a ritual to invite the household spirit into a spirit house. Then she gives a ritual of greeting the household spirit in a new home. So you got a couple different options here. But listen to this, the one to invite. So let's say you do this. Let's say you get a cute little figurine or something, like something with a small little house, right? You will need the following items to conduct this ritual: a spirit house made or bought. So, house spirit incense. She gives a recipe for that. A small white candle, food offering made from grain, like bread. So light the candle and try to sense the house spirit, the personality of the house around you. Make an offering of incense before the spirit house and place the food offering inside it. Obviously, if it's not that kind of, just like something solid, just put it next to it. And she writes, house spirit, I make you this place and invite you to dwell within it. I honor you and will treat your dwelling place with love. I make you this offering and ask for your protection from harm. And then she says, make sure you keep the house spirit clean and make regular offerings of food to it. After 24 hours, empty the house spirit and put the food out for the birds. Now mine, I'll be honest, in my sense, I just leave it on the porch. To me, it's a portal, and I haven't touched it. I mean, when I sweep the porch, I sweep, any dust from in front of it, but that's about it. I don't put offerings out on my porch because I'm terribly afraid it's going to attract something. I don't feed the birds here either because they will poop on everything. The pigeons here, and there are some pretty birds, but there is more pigeons. It's like an influx of pigeons of this year, and I can't. I already had an issue before, and it gave me the heebie-jeebies. Especially when you talk about bird flu and stuff like that. I got really freaked out. I didn't want to. Oh, okay. I read that already. I thought I missed it. Anyway, but I like this overall. I could tweak this though. So if I was to get another one, I could tweak it. But you know what it made me think about when I read this? Do you guys remember that episode of Charmed where they had the dollhouse in the attic and they got trapped in it? I immediately thought of that. My brain. I've been influenced so much by TV. But ritual of greeting the household spirit in a new home. Again, you kind of need the same. Yeah, you need the exact same thing. She just wrote it in a different order. Interesting. The first thing you should do in a new home is greet its house spirit. Offer it bread and salt. Salt's a new one. If you haven't done it before, make time to do it now. I would say she's giving you a suggestion. Go by what you feel. If you're feeling a certain energy in that home and you feel like I think they want liquor or I think this spirit wants a meal, like they want something, they want you to get in here and make something good. I would do it. Why not? And by the way, food offerings do not, sometimes people, and it's up to you how much you want to do, but I think sometimes people be doing too much, like a whole gigantic plate with food. You don't need to do all that. A small plate, a small plate. um and you could put a couple food items, and then people hear food and they immediately think, oh, cooked food, things like that. But you can put slices of fruit, cheese, crackers, that's your bread, seeds as well, if you want to do that. So like I think sometimes, like, it's okay, like me. As witches, don't you want to be a little bit more closer to nature as opposed to cooking dead flesh? No offense, don't get mad, but you know what I'm saying. Like, and I'm not like pushing veganism or anything like that, and I'm not saying spirit. We're talking house spirits, we're not talking ancestors, all that. We're talking house spirits. Like, wouldn't you think they would want things closer to earth, less processed? That's why they bread, salt, milk, things like that. You know what I mean, right? When I do offerings, I do a bulb of garlic. I'll do an entire, like a piece of fruit, an entire piece of fruit. An orange and an apple. The whole thing. I don't yeah, I don't do processed food. Like, I wouldn't go to McDonald's and be like, here's some fries. Like, and it's like, well, if that's all you have, if you could get fries, you could have gotten like a piece of fruit. Like I said, you could have got just a small thing of garlic or something like that. That's the offering. I don't know. We all do our thing, right? Um, there is something in here which I thought was brilliant. She said, reconnect with an alienated house spirit. Usually, if you start to talk regularly to your house spirit and make frequent offerings, it will be enough to win it around. If you feel that the house spirit has become so alienated, it has left, go into the garden wearing your best clothes. So your backyard, your patio, or just stand by the window, I guess, if you have none of these. Taking with you the bread and salt. Bow to the east, to the south, to the west, and to the north, and say, house spirit, forgive us and return to us, for we need your care. I would probably tweet that, but I like where she's going. I gave a friend a plastic Halloween skeleton animal that turned into a house guardian. Ah! They give it oranges every so often. I love that. Oh, see, I love that. Oh, that's so nice. I like that. And then, of course, the offerings to house spirits. Honoring the household spirits, threshold shrine, and then there's a house blessing ritual as well. So that concludes that section. Chapter 3 is all about the witch's kitchen and home, which was pretty informative. I highlighted here this section about the witch's bedroom. At the end of the day, we retreat to the sanctuary of our bedrooms to sleep, dream, relax, meditate, or make love. I like that she added the make love part. Have you noticed, like, sometimes okay, let's talk about this. In some books, I am trying to silence my phone because I realize it's going to People are trying every time. Anyway, have you noticed that sometimes like these witchy books and they're talking about like sacred space and bedrooms and all that sort of stuff, people get weird. They don't want to talk about like sex or anything like that it happening in the bedroom. And I'm like, well, hold on, because that's when you talk about placing altars in your bedroom. If you're not comfortable with the and there's sex taking place in your bedroom, you might not be comfortable with certain types of altars in your bedroom. Like for me, Aphrodite altar, a love altar, anything kind of in that wheelhouse, I would want that. I do have that in my bedroom. Also working with for me in my bedroom bath, I do have a lot of other things like related to Yemaya in there as well, because of the water aspect. So yeah. But you know, people. Do you ever notice people don't want to like, unless that's what the book's about, but they don't talk about that very much. Something I noticed, so I highlighted it. Anyway, so it should be a place where we feel safest and most relaxed. It is the place of dreaming magic. And she talks about a bedroom altar and a morning ritual. So she start each day by setting positive intentions. It's something beautiful. She even has a nightly ritual. Then she talks about bathroom altars. And she tells you you don't have to have an altar in every room of your home. But if you're trying to work with the energies of water, which me, you know, you go ahead and do that. And she gives you some ideas like blue candles. I do that. Seashells, pebbles. I painted a mermaid bathing in a bath, looking out at the water. That was my. I when I did that, I was excited, and that's hanging in my bathroom. Um, and then there's a ritual purification. She gives you a recipe for like bath salts, an herbal shower purification. Um, and they didn't skimp on anything. I love this. The witch's laundry. Like the bathroom, the laundry is associated with the element of water and with cleansing. Rather than seeing the laundry as a chore, we can greet it as an opportunity to apply our magical and herbal knowledge to the task to purify our clothes and imbue them with magical protection. She has a couple different things here, but a protective ivy laundry liquid. Put a few handfuls of chopped English ivy leaves for protection in a large pan and cover with water. Simmer with the lid on for 20 to 25 minutes. Strain off the liquid. You can use this for hand washing clothes or simply add a cupful to your washing machine. Ivy contains saponins. That's soap. And will make a good job of washing your clothes without the nasty chemicals of washing powder. I did not know that. Did y'all know that Ivy did that? I did not know that actually. So this was actually really cool information to learn. This is one of the things I learned. And I was like taken back, like, whoa, I did not know that. I, back in the day, especially like in my homeschooling days, and I was doing more couponing, um, I I tried making some homemade laundry detergent. It was okay, it worked, but it didn't work as well as this store stuff. I'll honestly, it didn't. So I stopped doing it. But I did try. I did try. Then she has something here about the living room altar, and then living plant allies. Keep a live plant in a pot in your living room. And she gives a nice little list here of the different plants, like an African violet is for protection, enhanced spirituality. A lily, love, harmony. Lavender, love. Geranium, love, blessing, prosperity. Uh, Carnation, love, and protection. So it's a couple different things. I just named a couple that she listed here. And there's even something for the witch's pantry. I do appreciate her being so thorough, because we're not just talking, you know, she's talking about all the possible rooms. Everybody's doesn't have like a walk-in pantry, but some of us do, and some of us have a laundry room versus, let's say, like a laundry closet. I have a laundry closet now. Once upon a time, I had a laundry room, so I get it. It's a small room, it's a closet, but I get it. Chapter 4 is about magical cleansing and banishing. Uh, excuse me. There's a personal purification um, section here where she's talking about cleansing yourself. But then she referenced something called lustral water. Lustral water. Lustral is from Latin lustreless. It means purification. Did not know that. That was new. Maybe I did and I forgot, but I don't remember knowing that. Lustral water is a combination of purifying energies of spring water and salt, consecrated and empowered. I will be using this term from now on. I'm going to call it lustral water because I like saying it, and now I like that better than just spring water and salt. Oh, there's just a little salt water. It's lustral water. So she talks about that, ritual house cleansing, and then ritual fumigation. Um, if you feel like your home has accumulated negative energy or if there is bad atmosphere lingering after an argument, it may be possible to clear it up with simple smoke fumigation. So basically, what you think, you burning herbs to cleanse and purify places common throughout the world, and the smoke is. But I like fumigation. I like that even better. So she goes into that, and she has a lot of references to like correspondences and things like this in here. Fumigation herbs are in the back in the appendix if you were curious. She talks about different resins, benzoin resin, sorry, eucalyptus, frankincense, ginger, heather, juniper, lavender, mugwort, rosemary, sage, vervain. I like that she gave so many options. So when she references something, she gives you like she gives you a lot of information about it. I like that. That's why I said this is I don't know. I think if you're even remotely in this world of hearth witchery, domestic magic, um cottage witch, this is it. This is the one. Okay, chapter 5 is about warding. I did highlight this section about the witch bottle. That's actually something I've shown on this channel before, me creating my own witch bottle. And even on my magical lifestyle of a cottage witch, I created a witch bottle. Here, I like how thorough she is about this. But anyway, witches still make witch bottles. Some may balk at using their own urine, but protective spiky items such as thorns and nails may be used in them, as well as strands of your hair or nail clippings. These personal objects bind the bottle to you. So I agree. And can you make, is it as effective without the urine? Yes, I'm going to tell you, yes, it is. Um, Me personally, I can use my hair. You can use your spit, to be honest. You can use that. Technically, you can use your blood if you want to do that, or any other bodily fluids for that matter, in that bottle if you go with it. So it doesn't just have to be urine, but just something personal to bind you. Honestly, if you're like dry, like your skin's dry, I mean, if we're talking about just like body stuff, like, you can kind of scratch a little bit, maybe like, to get the skin, a little ash, little dry skin, something like that. I wash my hands a lot, so my hands are always dry. So technically I probably could do that. And like, I don't know, take like, just a small piece of something, like just barely a piece of paper towel, and like scoop it up, like maybe it's a little damp, and then you put that in a bottle. If you don't like all the other stuff grosses you out, at the minimum, just something that's been on you, something personal, that works too. But hair, when all else fails, like a little piece of hair, just put that in there. Whatever. It could go you can do as much as you want. Tears, if you're crying, collect your tears. Has anybody ever collected their tears and used it in their spell work? Something to think about. She talks about warding. Oh, this is, I just saw it and I wanted to talk about this. So she references Lord and Lady when she's like talking about like the charm to speak. Lord and Lady, in your name, I fill this jar to protect my home. It's given Wicca. I'm not going to hold you because the last time I was saying words like Lord and Lady, I was Wiccan. If that is not your deal, you can work this. I don't look at stuff like this and say, oh, I have to say it exactly the way she said it. No, you don't. Make it your own. I would just skip that. I would say something else. I would not say Lord and Lady, though. That's not my thing. But, I think there's still something here. Like, all right, I'll read the rest of it. Lord and Lady, in your name, I fill this jar to protect my home with tangled thread to lay false trail, and in defense a sharpened nail. This glass deflects all bad intent. On this shield, all ill be spent. I could work with that. I just would make some changes. That's all. She talked about protective door wreaths, and so she gives like a list of door wreaths in here, like the different herbs and stuff like that, or tree or something like that. Colored spiral glass paperweight spirit trap. When they have been magically empowered, glass objects containing spirals of color serve to confuse spirits and dissipate harmful energies. Most common are ornamental paperweights. I love that. And honestly, that's not something I necessarily thought of. So this was one of my another takeaway that I'll be taking away from this book. I love that so much. So I'll be on the lookout for something like that. Then there's wards. She's giving warding ideas for everything, for the hearth, for the bedroom, additional wards. Like, she's giving you a good amount of stuff here. And then we get into beginning to work with herbs. That was a pretty, I don't want to say I didn't learn anything, but it just reaffirmed what I already knew, which was fine. The Hearth Witch's Garden. I like how she has a section about the web of life. She starts off saying, I know that my garden doesn't belong to me. Right? It's an interconnected web of life. From the microbes in the soil to the insects that pollinate the flowers, the birds that feed on the insects, and the small mammals that forage in the undergrowth. It teaches me about the interconnectedness and unity of all things. And I love that. I love that she took that approach. Instead of this sort of ownership at like, oh, this, I have dominion on these lands. Like, chill. Like, it's its own world. Don't do that. You're tending it. And that's your part in that web. There's a dedication of an herb garden ritual. And then she talks about herb and magic, more, making incense. And there's some incense recipes in here that are really good. Magical oils. There's some nice oil recipes in here. Then we get to working with the gods, personal practice, listening and sensing exercise. So this is something I highlighted. She said, you will never contact the gods while your mind is cluttered with mundane chatter. You will never contact the gods while your mind is cluttered with mundane chatter. Isn't that right? And this is so on point for me right now. Actually, I took this as just a message to me personally when I was reading this. She wrote it for everybody, but this stood out to me so much because I have had a lot of chatter. I know a lot of us witches are dealing with a lot of outside chatter. And then there's the internal monologue that's processing the outside chatter, and it's all playing out in your head. And honestly, sometimes it's hard to kind of get into the rituals like you want, to take time to do your meditations, to take time to pull your cards and kind of just sit and be quiet. It's getting, for a lot of us, it's getting hard to kind of maintain that and stick to our rituals and our routines of doing that because of just so much going on. But this was a nice reminder. It's like the first thing one of the things I learned a long time ago is to be a powerful witch, to be a witch worth her salt, is to learn how to control your mind, control your thoughts. If you can do that, you'll be a very good witch. You'll be one of the best. You'll be a very powerful witch if you learn how to direct your thoughts. If you can control your thoughts, or you at least have 98% control, 95 in a pinch, you can do some good work. You can do a lot of good spell work with that. A lot of people don't know how to control their thoughts. They don't even know how to direct their thoughts, let alone control them. So yeah, you need to be in a space where you can quiet things down long enough to chatter just a little bit so you can commune with the divine. And she goes on, we are conditioned to be always busy, always doing, Always communicating and talking. Filling the time and space. We are afraid of stillness and silence. We feel guilty about it because in our culture it seems alien. But stillness and silence are powerful ways of being. Only when we stop talking and sit in stillness can we hear voices other than our own. Mother Earth and other beings are always communicating with us, but we rarely listen. I agree. And she talks about go to the garden, a park, or woods. Even if you're in a city, there's a park. And right now, we still can go for free. So I don't know about the future, but right now, most of us still can walk around in the park for free. So I talked about my recent experience of just getting up out in nature, going up into the mountains and feeling like, oh my God, like it was better. It was the best thing I could have done for myself. And I'm doing it more often because I realized I need that. Being out in nature it does something to you. It fixes something a little bit inside, and you can kind of carry on a little bit better. Honestly, since I've been out and I spent hours out there, it did a reset for me in a very good way. It fueled me spiritually, and I did some releasing work as well. So it was the best. And now I'm in a space where I can sit still. Like when I first started, I realized I hadn't talked, I hadn't actually said anything out loud until I got on this line. That was intentional. I was honestly guarding my energy a little bit. Not a little bit, a lot today. Um, because I needed it. Then she talks about something called the Witch Walk. So the Witch Walk is a pilgrimage that relies on the sacred to give you direction. To begin, dedicate the journey to the gods and ask that you will be guided. Put yourself in the light trance state called dreaming with the eyes open. Now ask the gods to direct your footsteps, turning right or left as they dictate. If you're not in a position to do this, here's my kind of workaround. If you are going to be on a treadmill anyway, whether it's in your home or you're going to a gym, you can do this in your mind and kind of see with your mind's eye. If you're someone who can do that, like walking about and just like create this world, you're on the treadmill though. If you're not in a position to go walking out in your neighborhood, because a lot of us, some of us are not in a position where we can go just cavalierly walking about, depending on where you live, right? It might not be safe. You might not feel comfortable, especially women. You might not feel comfortable just walking alone, even in the daytime. And letting the gods, tell you where to go. Maybe, do the gods know you don't live in the best of the areas? Like it's a little tricky out here. Or you don't have a walkable place. A lot of people live in places that, sidewalks aren't a thing. But a treadmill, you can do this in your mind's eye with a treadmill. That was my other workaround with this one. But I like the intention behind it. I like what she was saying. Okay, so there's a section on like consecrating objects, things like that. Very thorough, by the way. It was good. Creating sacred space, fivefold sacred space. So she says, for much of my personal work to create sacred space, I use a wooden pentacle on my altar with a tea light at each point for the 5 elements: air, a yellow tea light; fire, red; water, blue; earth, green; and spirit, purple. So that's her fivefold sacred space that she creates. I like that. I use, do I have them? Oh, they fell. I use these small canvases that I got from the Dollar Tree, and I painted the symbols on there for the directions, and I color coordinated them as well with that. So I use those whenever, because she's going to get into like cast the 7-fold sacred space or casting a circle. Sometimes I just have them. I didn't cast a circle, but I've done it so much with those. I kind of like the energy, and it just feels like a sacred space, a protective space. So it's like I pull up my compass on my iPhone so I can remember which direction is which. And I usually sit here on this floor behind me, and I'll just have those around me. And sometimes I'll put like a candle or something on top of the canvas as well. But yeah, she's pretty solid information. She even talks about that she really casts and consecrated circle for personal work and rituals. She would do it more for grander with a group or something like that. Chapter 12 is about ritual. This is something that stood out to me. And she says, if prayer is talking to the gods and meditation is listening for the gods, ritual is a dialogue where the communication goes both ways. Ritual brings us and the gods together. I like that. I like that. I like that she says I don't think I've ever thought of it that way, but I love that she said it that way. And this, she, again, thorough. If your practice no longer serves you, though it is important that you persist in your practice and work through failures, there may come a point where you realize what you are doing just isn't working. When a particular practice has just become an onerous duty, you might need to rethink your methods, as this is not honoring the gods or fostering your spiritual development. Ask yourself whether you're trying to do too much and perform too many ceremonies. Go back to what has worked for you in the past and try to reconnect with why you're doing this in the first place. That last sentence, why did you become like why were you doing this? Why were you in the practice of hearth witchery? Why were you a kitchen witch? What brought you there? When you start to think about that, you ask yourself that question and be open to really honestly answering to yourself, I think you might kind of get back on track again. We've all been there, right? Where you've been on a path and you're not sure if that's the path you want to stay on. I know I have. I have. And then you like find something else and it seems so cool. I'm glad that I believe in like having a foundational tradition. Um, it keeps me grounded. I'm open to learning other things. I'm open to practicing so many other things, but I still have my foundation tradition, and I feel like that always that grounds me, right? So I would say find your foundation tradition, especially if you're somebody who's getting a little bit disenchanted. Maybe everything just feels like, I don't know, humdrum. The rituals aren't hitting anymore. You've moon gazed to the point where it's like it doesn't do anything for you. Start asking yourself why do you do this? Why were you drawn to this? Why were you even doing that in the beginning? And I think that'll help you out. Um, to make our magic, we must recognize that there are rhythms and patterns everywhere. I agree. We time our rituals and their intentions accordingly and attempt to harmonize our work with them. We don't make magic of growth when the tides are ebbing, and we don't perform rituals of banishment when the tides are swelling. Nature tells us that there is a moment to act, to perform a specific ritual or act of magic that will never come again. Before it has come out, come or when it has passed, we must be still or we will create only disharmony. Now, for some people who don't like the idea of rules and doctrine or something like that, you might not like the idea that if I tell you, let me give an example. Um, a waxing moon, it might not be the best time to work on um I don't want to say, man, well, no. See, I've already tweaked this. All right, I was about to make an example, but I was like, no, because I've already made a workaround. So when I first heard things like a new moon is the time for intentions and the full moon is the time of releasing, and I work with my coven and we recognize those. But I also believe a full moon is also a powerful time and it's kind of a wild card. And I feel like you can do intentional work as well with the full moon because I don't know, I feel like the moon the full moon is the wild card, but like a waning moon, I don't know if you're trying to increase things and you're doing a spell for like fertility during a waning moon. I don't know, maybe you're making things a little harder, but some of us don't want to wait. We want to do our spell work when we want to do it. So, I mean, there's workarounds. You can kind of just like alchemize it differently. Um, but there is something to this. I'll be honest, there's something to it kind of working with the natural cycles, using that to give more power to your spells. I feel like, I don't know, kind of like when I did my quantum leap spell. I did a quantum leap spell. I worked it with my coven. We had individual intentions, but we collectively used our energy for all of us. Because I did that during a leap year, it was really effective. It was super effective. Um, Imagine if I tried to do that at a different time. It's not, I'm not saying it wouldn't have worked, but it worked much better. There was less resistance because I was working with what already was, the energy already occurring. That's all. So I'm not, no one's saying you can't do something. It's more like it might go smoother. It might be more powerful if you're willing to work with nature and the energy that's already naturally occurring. All right. She goes into the cycles of the year, which, come on, you know, that was happening in this book. Very detailed information talking about the 8 Sabbaths by the time you're in chapter 14. Nothing, I'll be honest, there wasn't anything there that I don't already associate or know, but still it's good to be affirmed, the knowledge that I have. And you know what? It was some ideas of things like that. If I run out of ideas of things I want to do, I could reference this book. Um, for instance, Samhain, themes of Samhain, summer's end, beginning of winter, entering the darkest part of the year. You know I work with that. Closing the season of agricultural work, death, calling, ending, and it goes on. So if some of these themes resonate with you around that time, maybe you want to approach it that way. A lot of times, I know I've been asked this actually like throughout the year because I work with the Wheel of the Year in my practice. A lot of times people don't know, like, well, what is this about exactly? So let's go to something more on point of where we are now so we could talk about it. We're not there yet, but we're going to talk about Beltane. Okay. And she references in Ireland the 1st of May was called Beltane, so it starts off that. But we're going to talk about the themes based on what she's saying here. So if you're like Beltane, okay, well, I'm not going to do a ritual where I don't, or maybe you don't want to do the sexual part of it or something like that. There's other ways to approach it. Or let's say you do, and you want to explore those themes. First thing she lists is sexual energy, which is true. Passion, mating and pairing. Okay. Connection. Connection means different things, right? Celebration and joy. You can just celebration and joy right there. Flowering and blossoming. Nature's abundance, fertility, activity, expansion, growth. The green man. Summer goddess. Closeness of the underworld, of the other world, not under, other world. Fairy contact. The spiritual manifested in the physical, energy, fire, the element of fire. You could Beltane, if you are not sure what to do, you can really just work with fire. And then she says, what ignites your fire and passion? That's a theme. How do you interweave the physical and spiritual? So you would think about that as a theme. She even gives a list of traditional foods, traditional crafts, and activities. So if you don't know what to do outside of the themes, maypole dancing, May King and Queen election, feasts and celebrations to welcome the summer. You can just plan a feast. Bonfires, jumping the fire for purification, gathering greenery and flowers, hawthorn blossom, making and wearing flower chaplets, making flower blossom wine. Ooh. Making early summer flower tinctures and salves, perform love spells and fertility magic, placing wards on a home, stables, and outbuildings. Now, maybe we don't all have stables and outbuildings, but placing wards on the home might be more apropos. But yeah, I like how it's all laid out here. It's very on theme for how I approach things. She has a section on cycles of the moon with a lot of examples and spells and things like this through. So you're getting a lot of spell work in here, by the way. Part 5 was operative magic, or witchcraft, excuse me. Okay. So I highlighted here, you need to be aware that all magic changes you for good or ill. All magic changes you for good or ill. first of all, hopefully, as you grow in general, regardless of witchcraft, you're growing, right? You're evolving. Your outlooks change over the years, especially as we just get older. But me as a witch, oh my God, every spell, all the rituals, all the magic, I've introduced a coven in my life. So the collective energy of the women that I work with as well, it changes you. The more you practice, it changes you. Emphasis on the word practice. I'm going to say the thing that a lot of people aren't really comfortable, and she kind of alludes to this in this book as well in the end. You can read all the books, you can watch things, you can collect the things. The practice is where the magic lies. Being aware of it is great, but at some point you have to graduate from just being on the sidelines and watching it and reading it and watching others and hearing about others experiencing it. You have to experience it. You have to put it into practice. And when you do, you'll notice it does change you. If you thought just learning about it changed you, wait until you have more experience with practicing it over time. It has definitely altered me and my way of thinking. She says it for good or ill. I mean, I can't speak for everybody else. I wouldn't even say for good. There's some things about me. I'm very open to exploring themes that I guess would be considered darker, more than I ever have been in my life because of witchcraft. It doesn't make, I don't feel afraid. I actually welcome it. I'm very open to that. And death and things of that nature. That's not something I was always very comfortable with. So it's changed me a lot. Magic is not the act of creating something out of nothing. She sent me with this one. Magic is not the art of creating something out of nothing. The spiritual and the physical are intertwined, and one can affect the other. The performance of magic relies on a direct connection between the spirit in you and the spirit and the resources you work with. The stones, crystals, metals, plants, and so on. The physical part of the magic, the herbs, candles, and stones you might use, provide the focus and anchor of the spell and do have their own energies, but the real magic comes with the intent, preparation, visualization, and charging. Just wishing is not magic. Why would you limit yourself to the power of your little wishes when you can call upon the power of the sun and moon, stone and water, green kin and animal kin, the earth and the sky? Magic involves your whole being. The mind that considers the intent and designs the spell, the body that performs the practical part, and the spirit that empowers it in combination with the power of your ingredients. She had me with that one. I was like, girl, okay, I'm picking up what you put down. I went the first sentence. I was like, "What you saying now, Ann? What you saying, Anna? Excuse me. What you talking about?" But I got what she was saying. The funny thing about magic is that it always seems to give you what you need, not what you think you want. She goes on to talk about if you perform a spell to win the lottery, for example, that almost certainly won't work. But if you're desperate for money to pay your rent and have tried honest means of getting it, a money spell may turn up a few lost banknotes in the pocket of an old jacket or down the back of a sofa, or perhaps an unexpected gift from a distant aunt. There's some truth in this. For anybody who's ever done a money spell, to or you've done some sort of prosperity money spell with the intention of playing the lottery and trying to win. Well, you would have told me by now. Somebody would have told me in the comments if they won, right? If you won the big jackpot or something like that. It's rare that it works. But she goes on. This is like a thorough. There's a section on spells, and she's giving a lot of information on like doing spells and then giving you like actual spells to do. There's a lot of information in the back and appendix with a lot of details, correspondences that alone is worth having in here. Like I was really impressed with that information, planetary correspondence. Like it's really thorough. Her conclusion was I liked. It's rare that I like a conclusion in a book. Like I want to reference it, but I'm going to do it here. It was just really one part. Witchcraft is experiential, personal, and unscripted. Its deepest secrets are printed nowhere. You must discover them for yourself. Everyone must learn their own magic, and only in this way shall you become wise and truly call yourself a witch. Ma'am, it was a good book. Very thorough knowledge. Very good book. I would definitely add this to your the Hearth Witch's Path is the book. I would add this to your witchy library. Speaking of adding things to your witchy library, of course, I have a book, The Book of Shadows of Hearth Witch. The link is in the description. Couple updates on the books. My my copies are coming in the mail. Let me get the book. Sorry. Where'd I put it? Here we go. I knew it was on the shelf. Forgot to grab it back over again. This is mine. This is my mock-up copy. I'm still waiting. I'm at the liberty of them being delivered. They seem to take a long time, but I'll get into that. Anyway, for me, my author's copies, not to you. Anyway, the Book of Shadows of the Hearth Witch is something that I'm selling. This weekend, I'm going to be selling them through my website. So if you're like not really trying to do Amazon as much, it's okay. But I have another place you can buy them right now. If you're on TikTok, over at the TikTok shop, Leap Taken, I'm over there. These books are available in a TikTok shop. The Hoodoo Grimoire and the Book of Shadows for the Love Witch are currently for sale. I will be putting this one up this weekend there as well. But also I'll be selling all three on my website as well. So you'll be able to buy them directly from me. But this is a great companion if you were working with this book and you kind of wanted to study. You have a place to record your information. These Book of Shadows are set up so that I provide relevant information in the beginning of the book to get you started on your path, or if anything, just to catalog things you might already understand or already know, hopefully some things you'll learn. And then the rest of the pages, the rest are blank pages for you to write your own journey. So you get the front-facing material that a lot of us struggle with what to put in the first part of the book, including a dedication. And the rest are blank pages for you to add everything else, your recipes, your own correspondences and pictures. You can paste things in this book, whatever you want to do. It's yours, so you can do whatever you want with it. But yeah, these are the three right now that are currently available, and they're all going to be on my website. I'm very excited about this. So I have actually sold over at the TikTok shop. And I'll share with you guys that kind of sent me. My first sale, I was just like, wait, how do I do this? I was setting up on TikTok. I didn't know it went live. That was not apparent to me. I'm learning. I didn't know. I didn't know it was already live. I didn't know my stuff was already there. So I hadn't even advertised it. And somebody, I guess they were on TikTok shop, kind of like how I'm on Amazon sometimes, just looking. And somebody found it. And they bought it, and I was not prepared at all. I am now. But and I had a handful of copies here, so I've ordered a bunch of copies of everything. So I'll be able to fulfill orders on my website and on a TikTok shop. But I was running around like a crazy woman trying to get this done. I don't know. It was one book, y'all. It was just the one book, and I was like freaking out. Because it was brand new to me, but I got it done. And I was so happy. It just made my day. That I didn't even advertise that somebody found it and they got it. So anyway, I'm at the post office. So it was, if you wanted to know if you ever sold anything on the TikTok shop, there are a lot of moving parts, and it's not very clear from the seller port, at least mine. I'm like, I feel like I need to have it on a computer to really look. Are you one of those types of people like big purchases, big decisions? You need a bigger screen and like other things you're okay with on the phone. Like I'll even take the iPad. Like it feels like I need to like there's so much information from the seller point of view. But anyway, overall, I didn't realize it was that easy because I already had my products out there and didn't even know it. But I'm advertising now. I'm advertising now. Mine is downstairs right now, and I'm gonna go grab it after the live. Ah, I'm so glad. Yes, I'm good. Have fun. Um, Mock up your book. So heads up, videos are coming where I'm going to be showing you how I'm adding more pages to my books. So the grimoire videos are coming back to this channel because why wouldn't I? So I'll be definitely showing you exactly what that looks like. And I'll just like pick a book and work in it. All of these are practices that I do. That's why I'm able to write about it. So I'll definitely be adding in. The other thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about like speak, your practice and actually living this magical lifestyle that I live. I'm not expecting you to do it like me, but I do have the ability to help others realize their tradition, their path. So I'm running a class April 4th, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time called Practical Magic for the Advanced Witch. So, or Advanced Witches. The point of this class, and I say advanced witches because I wanted to make sure that everyone understood this was not like a 101 class. And oh, you're just going to be telling me stuff I already know. No, I'm not. You don't know what I'm going to tell you. No, I'm not telling. But I've also talked about it last week as well. I kind of did a breakdown about the class. If you want to watch that live, I did last week. I went into great detail about it, but also the details, which I have a link in the description here. The details are on the website, and it breaks down even more about what the class is going to be offered. But it's $25, April 4th, which is a Friday, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I'd like to just blow your mind with the concept of practical magic in a way that maybe, you're not reading about or you're not hearing others talk about, or maybe it kind of is in your head and you need somebody to kind of put it all together. And we're going to explore and make you more a powerful witch, a better practitioner, somebody who, and with your everyday. I'm not talking about doing something on this one Sabbath that, this one day of year type of work. I'm talking about infusing practical magic in your daily life so that you truly feel like a witch. You truly feel like a practitioner. A lot of us struggle with that. Listen, me, for a long time, I struggled with feeling witchy. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? It's like you're doing the stuff that you're not feeling it. You need the course. You need the class. You need the class. I can help you. I'm not kidding. I can help with that. These are practices that I've put or skills that I put into practice, and I've been doing this for years. I've recently actually just said it out loud. I've been practicing witchcraft for just about 20 years. I didn't realize it had been this long. I didn't know it was this long. A lot of things have happened. But I've been a witch all this time, and I have rode the wave of just like highs and lows. I never cold stop practicing. Some people I know, they talk about like how they kind of just like for a handful of years, they just weren't doing anything. The most that has happened to me, that was in a handful of months that I didn't do anything. But never years. It was never years. So I've been practicing this entire time. I'm bringing 20 years of knowledge to my very first class, in-person class. So I'll be live. It'll be in a Zoom-like setting. Again, the link is in the description. It's only $25. If you are a YouTube member of Leap Taken, I've recently shared in our community posts the coupon code. Remember, as a member, you get 40% off anything over at leaptaken.com, including this course. So please feel free to use that, members. If you're here, please use that, because you get 40% off of $25 anyway. So definitely use it. If you're interested in becoming a member, maybe that's your motivation right there. You can do that. And then you'll get 40% off. And it's like, I think it's $5.99 to be a member. So I'm not even making that, difficult to obtain, get access or anything like that. My intention is not to do that. I want to share information, but that's an exchange for sometimes, right? It's an exchange for the more deeper information. If you notice here at Leap Taken, I've changed the channel. I used to do more videos and I would post them, and I've kind of switched to this live format because I prefer this exchange a little bit more. And I still want to share the other videos and show like hands-on things. I use those videos for my members. So if you are wondering about the value of a Leap Taken membership, you get me doing more of the practicing, the doing. Um, and then lifestyle content as a cottage witch. That's my second YouTube channel, Magical Lifestyle of a Cottage Witch, where you get that. And that's a channel I'm building, and I post there typically once a week. We're growing. I've got all these other things going on, so we're growing. Um, so, keeping up with the schedule has been a little bit more intense, but that was everything that I wanted to talk to you about. I knew I was going to go, y'all know I got the gift of gab, and I go into details with my book reviews. I like to give you the highlights of the things that really stood out to me. I would recommend having this book in your library. There is a series of these books. This is the only one that I have. I don't have the other Hearth Witches books, but I understand they are. I don't know if I'll be purchasing them. I don't know if they all fit. I'll see. But I don't just buy things to buy it. But anyway, but this one made a lot, excuse me, a lot of sense, and I like this one. And actually, I think it's a good companion to my Book of Shadows. So the information that I got from here, I can add to some pages in my book. So, there's that. And then, of course, the course was the other thing that I wanted to remind you guys about. Registration is open April 4th, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time is when the course occurs. We'll be going approximately an hour and a half to 2 hours. Yeah, and it's a lot of information. Once you sign up, there is information for you to view, and there's an activity that we get to do together if you so choose. So I tell you what to bring. There's nothing crazy. You don't have to go shopping or do anything special. But it's not a lecture series. You will be doing things as well if you so choose. So that's hopefully, you won't be bored is my point. I don't like a boring class. I've signed up for enough. I've spent money myself on enough classes over the years where I have been bored. Somebody's talking in a monotone voice. Ugh. I'm too animated for, you see me, I don't even know how to stop moving my hands. I'm too animated to be that way. So that's not going to be what's happening. It's going to be fun. It's going to be informative. And you're going to get to do stuff during the class. So you're not just listening, you're doing stuff as well. All right. And then the Book of Shadows that are on TikTok shop and going to be on the website. So I should have all that up by this weekend. Because my goal is to have all that done, like the books available for sale on my website by my birthday, which is Sunday. So I'm having a birthday on Sunday. And yeah, so happy birthday to me. Early birthday. I will see y'all next week. And, head over to Leap Taken at some point during the weekend. If you are on the mailing list, the email list, I'm going to be sending out an email about the books being for sale, so you won't miss anything. So yeah, go to leaptaken.com. Go ahead and get registered on the website so you can get updates about what's coming, what's happening, new things that come up for sale, and things like that. But yeah, I don't remember if you mentioned if the class will be recorded. Yes. Oh my gosh. Someone actually contacted and asked me that, and I told them directly, and I never mentioned it to anybody else. Yes, the class will be recorded. Yes. So 100% the class will be recorded, and I will be able to send it out to you. That'll be obviously after the class. I will be able to send it to those who register and come to the class. You will get, that's one of the reasons I need, when you sign up, when I collect like your email. Well, one, I need your email to email you the links, but yeah, you'll get all that information for sure afterwards. I have every intention on doing that because maybe there's something, I love when people do that. When I've had classes, there are things that, in you might have said something and I might have noted it, or I had to get up and walk away or something like that because life happens. And I want to come back to it. And there's a lot of, good information. I wouldn't want you to miss it. So yes, it will be recorded and you'll be able to watch it. And it's in a Zoom situation. Um, so yeah, you won't be on camera, just me, by the way. You could choose to, the little thumbnails or something like that, but it won't be. You won't be talking. It'll just be me and the presentation. So no worries there. All right, so I'm gonna go. This is officially my birthday weekend. This was the work part of the day, so to speak. The other part is getting on that website and putting these books up, getting the images loaded and all that sort of stuff. But that's later Mika's issue, not right now. My birthday weekend technically starts after this, so I'm gonna go ahead and get that going. Thank you. I gotta it's a couple things I want to do around the house as the true cottage witch I am, and transform this into kind of like a celebration type of weekend. So there's some banners and stuff like that that I want to put up. I'm pulling out the Cricut, and I have a Cricut, and I'm gonna make my own banners and stuff like that. So that's what I'm about to do with the rest of my day. That's what I meant when my birthday weekend starts. I'm getting on my Cricut. All right. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share. The links for everything that I've talked about is in the description. The course, or class, I should say, is in the description. I did provide the Amazon links, but it's in the description. But if you don't want to go there, TikTok shop, you can just search up Hoodoo Grimoire. My book comes up, and you can search Book of Shadows for the Love Witch. This book comes up, so you can do that as well. If you prefer to go to the TikTok shop, that's perfectly fine. I know I can smoothly get them shipped out now, and I had my first trial and I passed it. You're safe to order from me, and soon my website. All right, bye everybody. Have a good weekend. Happy Venus Day.